an eclectic show for you this week. Water safety and micro habits. We'll figure that out in a moment, coming up next. Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Middle Country Public Library podcast. Sal DiVincenzo here in the studio with my fabulous colleagues, Sara
Hello.
and Nicole Rambo.
Hello.
How are you both doing this week?
Good.
All right. We're going to jump right in, but before we do, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We want to hit... I feel like I said this like 3-4 years ago. It's taking so long. We want to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So we have about 6-ish months left to do it. So if you've stumbled upon us, hello, we're librarians on Long Island, and we do this thing. We've been doing it for over 8 years now.
Really?
Welcome.
No.
It's going to be 8 years, yeah, in about 6 months. Yeah, see that? Yeah. Hit the subscribe button, and if you like what you see,
Oh my gosh.
hit the like button.
8
Okay.
years.
All right. It's become somewhat of a tradition here on the podcast around this time of year for Nicole to talk about water safety, and
Yes.
because it's important, especially if you have kids. So Nicole, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so May is actually I know we're at the very end of May, but it's technically water safety month, swim safety month. But it's good because I feel like Memorial Day just went by, and so opening up pools and stuff like that, and weather's getting nicer, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good reminder that we have to watch our children in and around the water. And if you Google, don't do it, but if you decide to, I did it, like drowning, children drowning, there's just story after story.
Wait a second.
No,
You did this like on YouTube? Children drowning. Go.
yeah, don't
I'm
do
sure
it.
you didn't Google those exact words.
No, I did. Well, because looking for this, I did Google children drowning, and it's just like story after story after story, recent, right? So it's not like 5 years. It's like a month ago, 2 months ago, and these are the stories that are big enough to be, come up in a search. But locally it happens all the time. I'll give you the statistics. Particularly, this stuck out to me because there's I didn't follow her on TikTok, but there's like a mom influencer, family influencer. She had a 3-year-old and a newborn baby, and her 3-year-old just died from drowning in the family pool. And so I didn't follow her, but like it came up on my feed, like someone else talking about the story came up on my feed, and then her stuff started to come up, and it's like horrible. Don't do that either. It made me delete TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, I can't watch this. And like, I mean, obviously, I don't say obviously, but when you have a child almost the same age, it hits different. Like whatever, just does. So anyway, but got me delete TikTok, which okay, whatever.
Wow.
But anyway,
It finally happened.
that is regardless, besides the point. But yeah, so this is happening all the time, and sometimes these stories will stick with you for whatever reason, and and we can like talk about this. So there's plenty of statistics. Like I said, I've talked about this every year. So it's similar statistics every year, unfortunately. But there's like the Red Cross, Swim On Foundation, and there's plenty of different National Drowning Prevention Alliance. These are just some of the resources that I found some things, but they all have like the same kind of statistics. So the first cause, drowning is a leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 4, particularly age 1. Now they're getting more mobile, usually around their first birthday, and they're starting to like move around, crawl around, and maybe walk. So that is the leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 4. The drowning is the second leading cause of accidental death for children ages 5 to 14. This is right behind car accidents.
Wow.
Drowning is a third leading cause of accidental death for young adults ages 15 to 34. So it's not just like a child thing. Even when you are 15 to 34, so young adult to adult, you are still, even if you're a good swimmer, that means nothing. And usually these type of accidents happen in open water more so than pools, or at least more open water than compared to the little ones. Little ones are usually happening in pools are home pools, family pools, like pools where you think it's safe. Like there's fences. There's a lot of times this happens during parties. There's a ton of adults around.
And distractions.
And, everyone thinks someone else is watching. It's silent, all that stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But so older people are not like exempt from this. Strong swimmers are not exempt. Recently, there was like at least 2 adults that possibly, one, I don't think they've found yet. He's like 29. That was like in Long Beach. Another one was up in like Kings Park. They did wind up finding his like body recently. So these are strong swimmers. In January, there was a surfer who's like in his 30s or 40s or whatever.
Oh, is that out closer to the city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wound up passing away. Currents, tides, all that stuff. We live on an island. Like, this is not, there's bays. We have every kind of water that you can think of. Ocean, beaches, bays, sounds, all that stuff. So, and it happens everywhere. And then drowning is the 4th leading cause of accidental death, again, for adults ages 35 to 54. So kind of like the ones I was just talking about. So drowning impacts every age and stage. Sometimes I know for like older adults, like in the 50s and stuff, sometimes that's like a cardiac event happens when they're in the water. So that my cousin was like a lifeguard, and that happened like once or twice. Like, so there was like an older person who he drowned, but he like had a heart attack like, while he was in the water. So that does happen too.
Jeez.
Yeah. So just be careful around water. And I absolutely love, this is not like a fear. Like, I don't want it to be scary. I love to swim. I always did. I was always in the water. Like it's just about like being safe while you're doing it, while family and friends are doing it, your children. Sure. The National Drowning Prevention Alliance has this 5 layers of protection that they talk about. So, like, I'll show you the little picture. They have like a whole brochure that goes into a lot more like details in this. But so they have like the pool in the middle, and then like the first layer would be your barriers and alarms. So fences that have like a particularly difficult like gates to open. I've been locked out plenty of pool as an adult because I couldn't figure out the mechanism to open it, which I'm like, great, this is good. This is what you want.
Exactly.
Alarms. So there's different like alarm systems. You have nets, different like kind of nets that you put over to protect, from that. So that's like the first barrier. The second one is supervision. So again, they talk about like, even if there's a ton of adults at a pool, like one person is like the watcher.
Responsible.
Yeah. And like they are watching the pool. They are like ideally within arm's reach of like, so they're in the pool. They're within arm's reach of, any children that are in the pool. And then you can switch off, if you want to do something like that, you can switch, you do it for 20 minutes, you do it for 20 minutes. I know when my like aunt would have a party, there were so many of us, she'd hire a lifeguard. There's a lot of like, teenagers, who do private parties, you know what I mean? So that you have someone there.
Smart.
So that's something to think about. Like if you're having like a big party, I'm sure someone that you work with, teenager, is a lifeguard somewhere. There's like it's such a popular, summer job to have. So like consider that. Water competency, this is a 3rd layer now. So not only for your child, they say starting at 1 is a great time to get them into some kind of swim lessons. From there, you can kind of decide which type. There are several kinds of swim lessons. That's completely up to you. Research them. There's the more intense one called like the ISR.
For a 1-year-old?
They start at like 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's when you like chuck them in the pool.
Yeah.
That's, I've known people who really swear by it, but they have pools or they have like access to pools. Other people who their child doesn't have such access to a pool, choose maybe like goldfish or safety swim or the Y to do like slow getting kids to learn. Like, so it completely depends on your situation. Do your own research, please, and decide which one is appropriate for your family. So water competency, not only for the child, but for the people who are watching and for the adults. Like, so it's one thing if you're designated to the watcher, but if you can't swim or you're scared of the water, how much help are you really going to be? So, you can make it like a family thing. Everyone gets swim lessons together, however you want to do it. But, just make sure that everyone that's, has a responsibility is at least comfortable in the water, So that's the 3rd layer, excuse me. 4th layer is life jackets. So if you're out in open water, especially like the U.S. Coast Guard, life jackets, that are like approved by them. And then in the water, there's different kind of safety devices. However, they are not, doesn't mean like, okay, they're fine. I can turn around now. You know what I mean? Like you do not depend on them like whatsoever, no matter what they have on them. But it is a good like layer of protection. And then the fifth one is emergency preparation. So having a phone out by the pool, everyone has, not everyone, but cell phones are a lot more popular. So odds are you do have a phone with you. But that, and then also if a child goes missing in your house or anywhere, check water first. So if you can't find your kid in your house, check, if you have a pool, check the pool. If you have a toilet, check the bathrooms. Kids drown in toilets. They drown in bathtubs, obviously. If you're taking a bath at night, make sure after bath time you unplug the water right away so the water goes down because they could sneak their way back in there later on. So things like that. So whenever you can't find a child, check water first. Even if they go missing, I took a class years ago, even if they go missing like in the wilderness, say, like, like you're out camping or something, I don't know, but you can't find your kid. If there's like a lake and like woods, go to the lake first.
Interesting.
To look for them than the woods. And the woods will probably be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if the lake, God forbid, then they're drowning. So always check any body of water first if you can't find your kid. So those are the 5 layers. And again, the it's NDPA. They have like a brochure that goes into more details. So consider looking at that if you're going to be around pools this summer, any water, this summer. But yeah, so that's it. I would like to definitely check out the Red Cross, that one. Local swim programs, again, if you're, have the money or, you know what I mean? Like if you're something that you're interested in, definitely do that. When we have outdoor pools, Brookhaven has a Center Reach pool. It's very popular. There's the one in Holtzville, the ecology site. So those are popular. Again, it's one of those things where you think there's so many adults around. There's the lifeguards around. Drowning is silent. So you're not waving your hands like you might think like you see in the movies or on TV. It's completely silent. And it can happen in 20 to 60 seconds. It can happen like immediately. And perhaps they don't pass away or drown, but brain damage happens very quickly. The lack of oxygen to the brain. So perhaps they live, but they might suffer brain damage. So it happens very quickly and very silently. And while I said hire, a teenager to do a private pool party, they're still a teenager and they're still, you know what I mean? Like you just have to watch your own children that you're responsible for. You should always have eyes on them. Yeah. And I mean, they are just tragic accidents at the end. It's an accident. It is. It's never purposeful. But you know what I mean? There are steps you can take to hopefully reduce the chances of this happening to your family. So I just want to stress that. And if you're into books, 797.21 is the nonfiction section about like some water safety and stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very important stuff, and we appreciate you talking about it once a year to remind people, because you need to be reminded.
Yeah.
The pools are starting to open up now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And again, I don't want it to be like a scare. I've swam since I was a baby child, toddler. Like I absolutely I was on the swim team. I dove, like all, et cetera, et cetera. I like prune up in the pool. It's my favorite thing. And it's just just being aware and feeling like confident, especially as adults, like confidence in the water.
All right.
You guys like to swim?
Oh, yeah.
No.
No, yeah.
I like to be able to have my feet touch the ground. I don't like when I cannot touch anything.
Oh, okay.
Like,
no. Do you go on? Like, do you go down?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't mind that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll like try to swim or whatever. But I don't like when because I'm not a good swimmer. So it's like I just panic.
Were your parents into swimming?
No.
That's like, and that was one of the things I was reading though. So like if your parent doesn't like to swim, then usually the kids don't get exposed to it and like et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's not that they didn't like it, but we just didn't have a pool or whatever. And I guess whenever we were at the beach, they just had a floaty or whatever.
Yeah.
We weren't swimming.
Right.
And I didn't like the beach when I was young, so.
No. What about your brother? Your brothers? Are they like?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't know. They fish and stuff, but I don't think they swim.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
I enjoy swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your little one?
Okay,
Yeah, the little one swims all the time.
Yeah.
I swam 2 days ago.
Did they get swimming lessons?
Yes.
Oh, I see. At what age?
Early. I think she was 4 or 5 when we started it, 5 or 6 maybe.
Did you go through like the goldfish thing?
No,
whatever it's called.
We did School of Fish, which is out out east a little bit. Yeah. She did 2 years. Yeah.
that's a long time.
And then after that,
Did you do it year round?
No. It was like the sessions,
Yeah.
So for the swimming sessions, you know what I'm saying? So they have like, 6 week, 8 week, 12 weeks. I think it was like a 3-month program. So she did 2 3-month programs. And then when she got older, we decided to have her, for us to teach her as well, because we both swim.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, and now she's, like I said, 2 days ago, she was swimming in the, 5 feet, 5.5 feet, which she can't touch the bottom, but she likes that. She's doing well with floating. That was a big thing last year. We were trying to let her just relax and float on top of the water. Yeah. She's doing that really well now.
Floating's hard.
It is.
Yeah, it's not like as easy as you think. You have to like really like calm yourself down. And some people's just body mass makeup doesn't like allow them to float.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're dense.
No, it's I don't know what kind of summer we're gonna have though, because it's we're at the end of May, and like the 10-day forecast is all in this lower 70s. It's 50s at night. So I mean, I don't even know if I want to. I was gonna open my pool this week. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wait. I don't know. It's a terrible thing. But it is.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Nicole.
Yep. Struggles.
Sarah, you're going to talk about something I've never heard about before. I don't know what
You
this
have
micro
habits.
habits.
Yes. So I have 2 books that are very popular.
Okay.
Atomic Habits.
Yes, this I know.
Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results.
So Atomic Habits, this is on the business bestseller list like almost every week.
Yeah.
All right.
And a regular.
Oh, and it's a Miller Business Center book. Look at
Yeah.
that.
This one is not. It's just a regular.
Okay.
It's called Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, PhD. The small changes that change everything. Okay, so you can take that one out too.
All right. Very
Okay.
good.
What are some tiny habits?
Okay. So I'm not gonna lie. I did have ChatGPT help me with this.
No, that's fine. The
Yeah.
ChatGPT is doing great.
And I'm
so
just going to
far.
read it because that's what I do. So,
All right.
if you've ever struggled with sticking to big goals or making lasting change, part of this episode is for you. We're talking about tiny actions. So small they almost seem silly, but they're the key to transforming your routines, your mindset, and ultimately your life.
Ultimately
your life. Okay.
Changed my
So
life.
they gave me this. They gave me this example to read. Now,
I like the way it's like plural. They, the AI, are
the AI
I
people.
agree with it.
And it's very silly, but I'm going to read it to you. This is not me, though, folks. I just want you to know this. Quick story. A few years ago, I tried to start flossing regularly. I failed over and over again until I decided to just floss one tooth. One. And guess what? It worked. That one tooth habit became a full routine in a matter of weeks. That's the power of micro habits. So, you know.
I think it's true.
But however, when I floss, I do floss my whole mouth. But I will say, if you want an anecdote of something personal, I started doing arm exercises, and I do use YouTube for free arm exercises because I can't do whatever. And there is one I do that's like 5 minutes. And it's like, there's other ones like 5 minutes, and there's like 15 minutes, 20 minutes with dumbbell, whatever. And I just do the shortest one, and it's hard. And, but I do it. And because it's small.
Yeah.
And
That's
then-
what they say. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, wow, that was just 5 minutes. I was able to do it. So that's an example of a micro habit.
Okay.
So what are micro habits? A micro habit is a super small, think digestible,
Think one
nibble.
tooth.
One tooth, that's right. Easy to do action that moves you closer to a bigger goal. Think doing one push-up a day, writing one sentence in a journal. I mean, we won't want to push it up to a paragraph, but or drinking one glass of water in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good.
These aren't meant to be go hard or go home kind of habits. They're the exact opposite. They're designed to be so simple that they feel almost effortless, and that's the point. This concept comes from behavioral science, like BJ Fogg, who coined the term tiny habits, and James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits.
All right.
They both highlight that small, consistent actions that are more sustainable and more effective over time than huge, sporadic ones. Because we all do that thing in like the new year where I'm going to go to the gym every day and stuff like this, and you never do it.
Good. Go on a diet.
Yeah. So instead of running 5 miles every few weeks, you commit to putting on your running shoes every morning. That's it. From there, it becomes easier to keep going. Okay.
Cool.
So why do they work? Low friction equals low resistance. The smaller the habit, the less willpower it takes to start. You're not trying to psych yourself up. It's easy. There's almost no excuse.
All right.
Okay?
Almost. No. Almost.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll find that excuse. Don't worry.
Consistency builds identity. When you do something daily, even something tiny, you start to see yourself differently. If you write one sentence every day, you're a writer. If you do one push-up, you're someone who exercises. Identity change happens through repetition, not intensity.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. You create anchors. The best micro habits are tied to existing routines. So, for example, after I brush my teeth, I'll stretch for 30 seconds. After I pour my coffee, I'll write one sentence in my journal. And this kind of method makes it stick. Psychological wins. Every time you complete a micro habit, you get a small dopamine hit, a little I did it boost that builds momentum, and success breeds success.
All right. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
The compound effect. Just like compound interest, which I know nothing about, micro habits build up over time. One glass of water won't change your health, but 1,000 will. One page won't write a book, but 300 will. Yeah. So how do you do this, you ask?
How? How do you do this? I ask.
Yes. You pick an area. You choose one area of your life you want to improve. Health, productivity, creativity, relationships, mindset, etc. Okay?
Okay.
So pick something.
All right. I
You
picked
guys
it.
picked it? You make it tiny. Break it down to the smallest possible version. Want to meditate, Nicole? You
Yeah,
start
actually.
with only one deep breath at that desk.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
hold it in. After you pass out.
And exhale. Okay. Want to journal? Again, write one sentence. Want to eat healthier? Add one vegetable to your plate. Make it so small that failure feels almost impossible.
A pea.
Yeah, one pig.
I like that. Failure feels almost impossible.
That's right.
Yeah.
Use a trigger. Usually trigger is a bad word, but here we're going to say use a trigger. Pair it with something you already do. Example, after I make my bed, I'll read one paragraph. And we discussed anchors, so track it. Use a habit tracker, calendar, or journal. Not to pressure yourself, but to celebrate that consistency. Even putting a check mark on paper can feel rewarding.
Well, I could say for weight management, for me, you know, tracking all my calories does help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to keep this momentum going. Common pitfalls to avoid: going too big too soon.
Yeah.
The moment feels like a task, you're less likely to stick with it. So you do have to keep it ridiculously small. Expecting immediate results. Remember, this is a long game or a long con. Okay. Micro habits are about playing the infinite game, not getting a 6-pack abs in a week. Being inconsistent with triggers. Make sure your habit is tied to something stable in your routine. If you skip your morning coffee, you'll skip the habit. So you need to pick those reliable anchors, okay? Giving up after one missed day, which this happens quite a lot, yeah. You'll miss a day. That's normal. Just pick it up at the next day. Missing one day isn't the problem, but quitting is. Yeah. So now we're going to recap. Thank you,
Okay.
ChatGPT.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yes, micro habits are small, simple behaviors that over time lead to big results. They work because they're easy to start, easy to repeat, and easy to build on. If you've been struggling to make a big change, don't start with the mountain. Start with the pebble. One breath, one step, one sentence.
One tooth.
Yeah, and here's your challenge, people that are listening
And watching.
and watching. Pick one micro habit. Make it so easy it feels almost laughable, like one tooth. Do it every day for the next 7 days.
All right.
Yeah.
I think everybody could do that.
Yeah.
One little thing.
Yeah. And also, they're saying, tell us what you chose if you dare. Not if you dare, but if you want to share.
Yeah, so
Dare to share.
comment below and let us know.
Yeah. So do that 5-minute arm routine.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's what they say with exercise. Like, just walk for 5 minutes. And usually once you start, you're like, all right, I could do another. 3
Exactly,
minutes.
yeah.
And you want, yeah.
Especially if you distract yourself, like if you're listening to a podcast, for example.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sarah.
Sure. And take these out if you want to
Very
read
good.
more about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. This one's in the Atomic Habits is in the Miller Center. Like I said, it's been on the New York Times bestseller list
forever.
Years.
Forever.
And Tiny Habits is in our
Yeah,
fiction,
150
nonfiction.
158.
158. Very good. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us this week. If you want to listen to older episodes or read our show notes, visit our website, mcplpodcast.com. You know, starting next month, they don't know about this, But starting next month, we're going to start to leave the studio and do more things inside the library and out in the world. So now is a good time.
Not going nowhere.
Now is a good time to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, so this way you'll know when those episodes come.
Do you mean out in the world?
Can I come to the hospital and I have my baby?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Ooh.
I mean, well, maybe
Restaurants?
maybe we'll
Dumplings?
take a visit in our different departments here at the library. We have some different departments, and we have some
That's not nearly as exciting as food.
technology that allows us to record remotely. So we're going to do that. So it's going to be fun stuff.
In the maternity ward.
Yeah.
And then we will
That's
stream.
just for you, Nicole.
We'll
So
have
you never not have a reason to record.
a live stream of Nicole's baby's birth here on the channel. So definitely do that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us this week. For Sara Fade and Nicole Rambo, I'm Sal DiVincenzo. See you on the next show.